Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And so the challenges that we try to address with tFLOW, as we understand what's happening in the market today, are of course from customers' requests for faster delivery and turnaround times, while at the same time for lower costs. And so the question is how to meet both of these demands, because of course faster turnaround many times will mean more overhead, um, or you can have, of course, lower your costs, but how can you get those things out quickly? So, of course, automation is the answer for many of those questions. And whether it's automation, complete automation, or just partial automation, still, if you're able to automate certain steps, you're going to be able to cut costs, of course, and decrease times. So, what we wanted to mention today, however, and I think what many people are not identifying is where the hiccups are, where the problems are, in terms of what's slowing things down and how to equate that with a proper solution. So most solutions today tend to focus on the back ends. When we talk about automation, they tend to be focused around the printing and finishing area. But if you speak with most people, as well as most of you also know in your own businesses, that many of the factors which are affecting your efficiencies are actually upstream. So uh, with most people, if you ask them today what kind of problems they're getting, they won't tell you things like finishing or printing. It'll be more files are coming in the wrong sizes, where it's taking us too long to get approvals from customers, the specifications not meeting the file they're receiving. So these are all upstream, what we call front end type of processes that are slowing things down. So we have a disconnect. So most automation systems are built around the back end, which more or less functions quite well, but the problem or the inefficiency are being caused by things that are happening upstream. So what tFLOW was made for is essentially it addresses the whole workflow, but especially focuses on this upstream area to try to make this process much more efficient. So let's see how we do that. So I think this is probably some of you will find this workflow familiar. So this is what's happening today in most companies in terms of getting the files from the customer to production in a timely manner. So this is accomplished usually with quite a few emails and texts and so forth that are going back and forth between all of the members that are involved in the process. I think it's a pretty reasonable number to say that any job could easily require about 20 emails to go back and forth between different people to get the thing through. And of course, this is affecting the bottom line. So of course, the further that you go along here from left to right, your turnaround time is decreasing, and the cost of any kind of errors or changes that are happening as they go further and further right are going up. So what does this look like in the workflow itself? So if we look at what's actually happening is we're having a bottleneck in the prepress area, and again through no fault of prepress, it's just the way that things have worked out and over the years. And so again, we have a series of files coming in that need to be checked and addressed by the prepress. Then, of course, CSRs and sales are sending things into prepress and asking questions about the status of jobs and files. Anything that's going wrong in production is also coming back over here. So you can see this down here, this list is getting longer and longer and longer. And the second part of this problem, of course, is that the time that prepress has to address all of these tasks is inhibited by the amount of email they have to send back and forth to all these different members, informing them of the new statuses and so forth. So how does tFLOW help to address this? We have here is a 24/7 system that is allowing people to submit things into the system, and whether that is the customer directly or through a form or a web to print system, or through if you have connected your ERP or MIS system or your sales and CSRs, everybody can submit things into tFLOW, which will do your initial checking. So what that means is that you're able to get feedback immediately without having to go to prepress, first of all, about whether the file is printable or not, or if it's not, why. So that's going to happen immediately. Second, it's going to decrease the amount of things that need to go into prepress. And then some amount of jobs, some percentage will be able to go into production automatically, which again frees up even more time for prepress. So what this is doing is it's providing immediate feedback and turnaround time for everything. And then secondly, a certain amount of jobs will be able to go through automatically. And third, it is also decreasing the amount of back and forth in terms of communication that prepress needs to have with the rest of the department, because everybody can check for themselves their own statuses. So this is how it's addressing the front end, and then on the back end we have, which we'll see a little bit later in the presentation, how when tFLOW sends to your different production systems, it can generate the necessary, it can send the file to the systems, but also generate the necessary XML or JDF that those systems need to do automated processing. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at tFLOW, just some of the key points that the system has or addresses. So we'll see what it looks like to bring files in, as well as what the automated pre-fighting and proofing looks like, and as well as the collaboration and some automated pre-press, and then the connection to the backend. So that's about all the time we're going to have, but I'll go fairly quickly. But again, if you have any questions, you can schedule another demo with us. We can go into more in depth into these details or other functions that tFLOW has that we won't have time to go into today. So let's go ahead and exit out of here, and I'm going to bring over tFLOW. So this is actually done through the web browser. So what I'm opening up here is Chrome. So again, you can use any modern browser that you prefer. So I'm using Chrome here. So I first log in. This is my dashboard. So again, very quickly, you can see how I'm getting a very fast look on the status of everything. So rather than sending emails to everyone, I can just check my dashboard and see where everything is. So this dashboard also is configurable. I can go in and configure my own widgets, bring them in here. These widgets are also themselves configurable, so I can go in and reconfigure any widgets to show me different states, different customers, different dates, things like that I want to be able to see in here, and get a quick update on where everything is in the system. So this also functions as a launchpad. So again, if I click on any of these items, it's going to take me to a listing, in this case of jobs waiting for approval or sent to production, or jobs that have failed pre-flight. So again, it's a very quick way to get a status on where everything is. So what I want to address here is, how do files get into tFLOW? So there's several ways to do it. So one of them is one of the functions that we have is a anonymous upload window. This allows you to put this on your website, and rather than using just a standard FTP, this allows customers just to drag files in, put in their email address and their name, and upload files to you. There's a very quick way to do it. The second way to do it is via our API. So if you're already using a type of form or an online designer or a web to print system, or with your ERP system, you can use our API to push files and orders and so forth into tFLOW automatically. So this requires no user intervention at all. And the other way is manually, which I'm going to go ahead and do now. So we can see what that looks like. So I can come in here and go ahead and create an order. And when I create an order in here, I just click on the new order button and decide here for which company this is going to be for. So let's say it's going to be for the company webinar. Put an order number, leave it blank, and then down here I can put in a description. It already assigns the users automatically. And then down here is where I can set up where I want the files to go once they have been approved from the customer. So this can be automatic or semi-automatic. And then finally, we also have the product. So let's say if I want to choose my product type, I can do that here. I'm going to go ahead and just choose a general purpose pre-flighting product here, and I'll go ahead and save. So this creates the order, and so now at this point, this could have sent an email out to your customer where they can just get a link and click on the link, and they'll see a window like this one. They can upload the file to it. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and drop a file in. So let's take a quick look at what the file is. So in this case, it's just going to be a banner. So I'll go ahead and just drop the banner into the window here. And so what this does now is, so this, when it says processing, it's doing several steps, and this is really where the time saving comes in. So we're actually going to be able to jump over, and I'll show you a couple other things in the system here while it's processing, and it's doing the job of, let's say, what a normal operator would take about 20 minutes to do. So it's pre-fighting the file, it's building up the proof, it's creating the production file, and it's also emailing the customer. So all those things are happening automatically behind the scenes, and that'll take about a minute something roughly to finish the file off, and that's again all automated while I can do other tasks like design work or things like that. So while that's finishing, I just want to show you what it looks like. Actually, it's already finished. So let's just go ahead and take a look at that now. But so if I go into the file itself, we'll be able to see here that it's already finished. So you see it built up the proof automatically, as I mentioned. So if we go back over to the original file, we'll see here this was the banner. And again, it could be anything. It could be a business card or a brochure, anything. Just I chose a banner in this particular case. And so in this case, you see it built up the proof automatically. So it chooses the template. You can set up your own templates. In this case, it's also embedding in all the information. So you can decide which fields you'd like to list here. But so it builds out your proof, embeds all the information in automatically. If you want to call out spot colors and so forth as well, you can add any kind of format you'd like to proof. And this has already sent out an email to the customer. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that email looks like. I'm going to go ahead and close my window now here and jump over to my email application. And let's take a look at what that email looks like. So we have over here an email like this one that it is now awaiting approval. So I'll go ahead and click on that, and that's now opening up a window. So this is essentially what your customer is seeing here. So they're getting an email like this one. When they click on that email, it opens up this window you're seeing here. So it's looking at the proof. There's no login required, so you can choose if you'd like your customer to have to log in or just use a public link like this one. So very, very easy. If they need to make any comments on here, they can do that. Open up the side tab here, add in comments. So a comment can be just a text, or it can be with a post-it note or a pin drop or a square or circle they want to go ahead and add in there. And then you can also, of course, move these, resize them, and change that to warning, error, whatever it is that the customer wants to communicate to you, and then go ahead and post that message. So in that case, this now everybody in your team has visibility to this message, and you can, of course, also reply back. So kind of like a Facebook type of format here. And so this is now, again, visible to your customer, the CSR, anybody on the team that you want to have visibility for this particular job or project. So in this case, if the customer needed to request a revision or upload a revision, you can do that. Let's just go ahead and make it easy and say everything looked great and go ahead and approve it. So this job is now approved, and it's now applying all the finishing options to get this file ready for production. So I'm going to go ahead in the meantime, just go ahead and log back in as my own user here. And give me 1 second. Okay, so I've now come back in, and so I'm back here in the system. And again, I'll have visibility for anything that the customer's commented. I can go over here and see in my notification center that there were some comments made, so I can actually see a comment and a reply that were made over here. I also have over here that a new order was created. So again, notification center telling me everything that's going on. At that point, the job was again keyed up and ready for production. So if I jump into that particular order, go back into it, and you can see here, so in this case it's been approved, so this is ready for production now. So again, I can do a double check if I'd like. I can open it back up, change over to the production view, and I can see actually the production file. So any production options that I've chosen would be applied here. I can check the artwork info. If everything is ready for production, I can go ahead and send it. So in this case here, if I want to send it now to the production facility in Denver, as well as to, let's say, the cutting setter over here, I can go ahead and send the file off, and now this shoots the file down into the production area. So that's pretty much the process that's involved. And again, this is happening dozens or hundreds of times per day, depending on your volume. But you can kind of see how quick that is. So before I jump over to the tBot, I'd just like to show you very quickly how these products are set up. So essentially the way this works, in your settings, you have automation scripts, and these automation scripts are set up in the Kelis toolbox. And so again, we won't have time to go into that today, but to add in your automation scripts into here, you essentially can add a new automation script. And in this case, I can go and open up here, and let's say I want to add in a finishing option, which is going to add grommets. So I can go ahead and add that and say this is a finishing profile, and I can go ahead and save that. And I can add, again, any additional profiles that I'd like to put in here. And then I go into my product types, and I can set up here a new product and say, okay, this is going to be banner with grommets. And so again, I can define here, my proof is going to be for my standard proof format. Over here, I'm going to set up my automation. So let's say I'm going to choose large format. Oops. And finally, down here, I'm going to choose my grommets profile and go ahead and save that. So now I have a new product. So again, when I go back over here to my orders, that product is now available and from my list here. So again, very easy to set up your automation scripts and products. So in the last few minutes here, I'd like to show you where these files are going. So let me just jump back over here to my presentation and show you very quickly here how, again, this is all connected. So we have tFLOW itself, which can be running in the cloud or in your local area network. We have both configurations possible. But in any case, we have the files residing in here, and they need to get moved down into your various devices and output systems. And that's what the tBot is for. So the tBot publishes queues up into tFLOW. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So I'm going to call up the tBot now and bring it over. So here's the tBot, and the way the tBot works is you set up different queues, and I'll go ahead and just create a new queue here. So when you set up a new queue, for example, your initial action can be to download. So you want to say download the file, and And then down here you can set up which tFLOW it's going to be connected to, and then where it's going to deposit those files, which destination directory. That's usually going to be the hot folder of your cutter or your printer, whatever device you want to send the files to. So, but in addition to that, you see here that we have some additional options. So if you choose export to InfoStrip, we can pull up the InfoStrip configuration file and send out all the configurations and publish those as queues. If you have Nexia with Caldera, we can read out all of the printers that are connected and all their quick sets and publish those up into tFLOW. And then when the file is pushed down, we generate the JDF that Caldera needs to do automated processing. That's going to tell it which materials, which printer configuration, how many copies, and so forth. Same thing with the Zune. So it's connected to the Zune Cut Center. We can pull out all of the material types and publish those up as well as create the XML that Zune needs. And also for InSoft IMP, same thing, publish all of the automation configurations it has for layouts and be able from tFLOW then when you send to IMP to do the automated layout and nesting. So in addition to all of these options, of course, you can do any kind of file renaming you need to do. So if you want, in addition to download, process all those files, be able to rename them or make sequential or do different options to them, you can do that. In addition, if you want to then after that move it for archival purposes, compress it, then send an email. So you can set up all of your little in-house automation steps for any files that you've brought down from tFLOW to tBot and then into your different devices. So very, very quick and easy to set up automations here. And then these queues are all of those queues that you were seeing in tFLOW that I was sending the approved files to for final processing and production. So with that, okay, I'm going to go ahead and address your questions. So please use your question box in the GoTo control panel. And so I have a first question here, which is what's an API? So the API is your application programming interface, and essentially what that does is that allows the system to connect to other systems. And so it's essentially a way for different programs to communicate information back and forth to each other. So in this case, as I was showing you before, if you use this, our API or application programming interface, then a web to print storefront or an MIS system or an ERP system could tell tFLOW, hey tFLOW, I want you to create this order with this job, input these values, create this customer, and then using the same API we can send back a status update such as, oh, the job is now waiting for approval or it's on hold because of pre-fight errors or things like that. So that's in a very quick nutshell what the API means. So another question here, do we have asset management? Actually, tFLOW is storing all the information, so let me go ahead and show you what that looks like here. So if I bring up, I'm going to go back and log back in again. So all the files that we're looking at here are all being stored. So if I jump into jobs over here, let me pull this up, the job window. So we're storing not just all of the jobs. So we're looking at all the jobs that we're storing in here. They're all being stored. And I can also, by the way, change that view to a Kanban view so we can view these as they're going through production from left to right and get to sent to production. So any of these jobs that I pull up, so if I want to go back into this job that was sent to production, we're storing everything in here. So you can, if I go over here to download, you see we're keeping the production file, the low res, the original, the proof, the report. All these files are stored in here. And again, if I need any of them, I can go back and say, oh yeah, give me the original. And just click on it and download the original. We also have an area here for additional files. So this is a place that you can just drag and drop any additional files that you want to store together with the project that is not the artwork. So if you want to put in the customer PO or CAD files or any additional files that you need in here, that's also all stored here together with the job. And then there's also a search function. So if you go in here into global search, you can do a full text or a partial match for, in this case, you see here, for the files themselves or for any other parameter that you want to set up. So I can just type in word comments, and that'll pull up any items in the system that have that term in them. And again, that includes even the files. So to answer your question, yes, we are storing all of the relevant files that you'd need to either reprint again or go back to do redesign or pull up any additional files you've stored with the project for, again, getting it through to production. So another question here, does tBot does layouts for production, correct? For example, 20 up of 3 versions. Not exactly. So what tBot is doing is we connect. So rather than reinvent the wheel, we connect to layout systems. So in this case, we are connecting to in this case, ultimate info stripped, and then down here we're connecting to soft impt, and in this case we're connecting to Zoom Prep Center. So these are 3 separate layout applications that you can use to do exactly that. So if you want to do 20 ups and so forth, true shape nesting and everything else, you can take your pick of which program you want to use. And what we're doing is here we're connecting to that application and giving it all the relevant information it needs to do the automated nesting. So in this case, we're telling it what material type it is, how many copies you want, here's the file. So all the information that that system needs. So rather than force you to purchase an imposition piece of tFLOW, you can use any of these imposition systems that you want, and we'll connect to it and communicate with it and give it the parameters it needs to fully automate. Okay, any additional questions? Okay, I think that's about, oh, sorry, one more here. So what file formats does tFLOW deal with? So we deal with all standard formats. So as of today, you could actually upload any file format you want to tFLOW. So it'll take the file in. But if you want to automatically process the file, then the file format needs to be PDF, EPS, PostScript, TIFF, JPEG, Illustrator, Microsoft Office documents. So essentially all of your standard formats with a few of those native formats as well. What we don't do automatically would be an InDesign package or a PSD file. That will be coming in the near future. But as of today, if you put those files in, tFLOW will take it, but then alert you that you've gotten the file in, but it won't process it automatically. Other questions? Okay, one more question here. Does the system track revisions? Yes, it does. So if I go back over here to, once again, to jobs, let's jump in here to a job. So if we have, let's say, a job that's waiting for approval, something like this one, if we open this up and this job is now, waiting for approval. By the way, another interesting thing here, this is a kind of an advanced version of what you can see what's possible with a proof. So the production file that was uploaded was, in this case, a table throw. And if we see what the production file looks like, it's essentially just the table throw, which is this. And actually tFLOW, when it was uploaded and created the proof, made all the other things you're seeing here. So we added in all of the cut contour lines, the specs, the knockout section, everything you're seeing here is added automatically as part of the proof. Anyway, to go back to your question, so in terms of revisions, you see here, this already has revision 2 of 2. So I can go back over to revision 1. And the way that works essentially is if, so you can see here, for example, in this case, they had uploaded just a white table throw. So, oh, that was the wrong one. Then here, upload the right one, revision 2. So at this point, if they want to approve, you can go ahead and approve. But if not, again, you can say here, request new revision. And this will now create a container for revision 3. So, and then this is again allowing the artwork to be re-uploaded. So all of the previous revisions with all of their comments, if there were any, are all stored with their artwork. And then over here, you can see that each revision is tracked. So to answer your question, yes, we do revisions. Okay, any further questions? By the way, that also will help. That helps quite a bit with your in terms of the right file getting into production. So when something is approved, it's always the last version that it's approved, and when something is sent to production, it's always the last version that's sent to production. So there's no way that you're going to send version 1 or 2 to production. When you hit send to production, it's always the last approved version that's sent. So that's going to save you a lot of headaches in terms of the wrong file getting into production. As you can see here, we can't even send a file into production because its status right here is waiting for a new revision. So until a revision gets uploaded and it gets approved, there's just no way to send anything, this file, into production. Okay, got another question here. We currently use proofs that turn into blueprints with dimensions and material tooling detail we don't want the customer to see. Can we build off proof to turn into blueprint? I'm not quite sure what the question means. Maybe we might want to address that after, because I'm not sure I quite follow the question. I'll try to answer in any case. So when the file gets uploaded, tFLOW is building 2 separate files. So one is the proof and the other is the production file. So In this case here, you have, again, whatever you want to happen to your production file, you can define. Whatever you want to happen to your proof, you define. So you can go back and forth, but essentially you can generate two files automatically for any file that gets uploaded, one for proof or however you want to be able to use that, and one for the production, however you want to be able to use that. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but you can generate two separate files for any one uploaded file, and then how you want to use those two files is up to you. Another thing you can do as well is you can replace the proof. So if a proof that has been uploaded here that was generated automatically is put in, and you want to be able to put a new one up, these don't have them. Of course, they're already it's waiting for new revision. Let me go over to another job here. So if you at any point needed to replace proof with another version, you can do that. So if I go back into some job here that is waiting for approval, and this button right here allows you to replace the proof. So you can just drag and drop any file into here and it will replace this proof with your new proof. So I hope you answered your question, but if not, please let us know, and we'll get back to you on that. Okay, additional questions? Great group this morning. I really appreciate the feedback and the questions. Okay, so I think that's about it for today. I ran over time, but I hope it was productive for all of you. So just want to put up a note. So if you have any additional questions, or again would like a personalized demo, would like more information, please either visit our webpage at tucanna.com, or contact us at info@tucanna.com or sales@tucanna.com. So thank you all once again, and I wish you all a fantastic weekend. Take care.